Welcome back to Alexander's Adventures. Today we're repairing an ECM for a 01 to 05 Honda Goldwing. So anyone who's watching this probably already knows most of what I'm about to say, but if you've owned one of those Goldwings, if you're lucky, you never had to deal with this problem. But this ECM from the factory, this is the original for the bike that I bought, an A01. There's a 305 version of this, which is supposedly the fixed version from Honda that's sold under a P00 part number. I don't have the bag in front of me, but you can buy those brand new, but they'll cost you a pretty penny, about $900 to $1,100 as of today. So there have been some really smart guys, smarter than me, that figured this out, but essentially this boils down to the two knock modules that are nested right here on the circuit board that are obviously responsible for detecting knock. They look like this. They come from the factory with a component that is up against the board with contamination, which makes them unable to perform their job correctly when exposed to slight temperature increases. Essentially, this doesn't happen immediately. It happens over many years. Most failures supposedly haven't even really occurred until recently. These bikes obviously being released over 20 years ago. But what happens is there's an op amp on here, and I mean, credit to 98 Valve for finding and figuring out all of this information. There are actually like 3 or 4 guys on the GL1800 forum that did this, so I'll link their names. You can go find them and pick their brain. They know way more about this stuff than even I do. I don't really do board level repairs except as a hobby. A couple of those guys are consummate professionals, but 98 Valve especially, it created the like reverse engineered the schematic for this, found the part number by pulling one out originally and depotting the exterior, because this is not these are not the two that came in this thing. They're just covered. What you see in here is all potting material. It's a silicone foam, and then the exterior is a hard shell. I used a hot knife to cut this. Others have used Dremels. I prefer the hot knife. Just make sure you got ventilation, because it makes a nice clean cut. And you only want to go down about 1/8 of an inch to get that out, but then you can pry it off the top. It's stuck to the top of the potting. But this is the top side, and if you cut, it's almost evenly with the plug. I've got my headlamp on, so excuse the lighting. It's dark here in Hawaii right now, so right down there you can see there's other components that that flank the position that these modules actually go in. So it's very important that when you cut in here, you be very careful. I'm actually not even sure that I've done this correctly, so that will have to wait until I test it on the bike. I don't have a test bench. Fred H is actually doing this in exchange for about $300 as of today. So if you've got one and you need to get a repair, I suggest you send it to him. He's been doing a fantastic job. I just wanted to do this myself because I already had the modules, because he didn't start offering that service until afterwards, and sheer curiosity. So because my channel is about trying to learn intricate details of things and experience whatever experiences you can and live life, this is one of my favorite hobbies. So if you're new to the channel, this is not normally what I do, but I post this kind of stuff just to be of help. So what I'm going to do, I've just finished clearing the pads. In order to get these things out, because they're nested in here, way down in there, it's, I mean, like, I was going to try to desolder them and pull them. Not possible. Just like, take 98 Valve's word for it. You got to bend them back and forth until the pins break, pull the modules out, and then individually get each pin out of each of the pads. So I used a handheld solder sucker and a soldering iron that has variable temperature control. These are both things that you can get on Amazon, but really any tools like this will do. Also, a syringe with soldering flux is pretty handy. I did end up using a little bit of desoldering wick to pull the majority of the solder off of the pads as I was working. And then of course the soldering iron came with solder as well. I would recommend getting one that has brass cleaner, because you will get flux all over everything, and obviously you need to clean your soldering irons as you're doing this. But while you can clean pretty much all of the pads without any special technique, what I found worked for removing the final 4 that were really stubborn. I don't remember which positions they were in. I want to say the furthest end here and then one in the center here. You can find more specific information later. But in order to get those out, I had to use both of these irons at the same time. This one with a very, very fine tip, as you can see, in order to just basically go into the pad from this side to apply heat. And then I used the sucker on the opposite end to pull everything out. And it worked. So now I've got them all cleared, and the next thing I'm gonna do is actually try to solder these modules into place and see how that goes. So I'm gonna set you down here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and place the modules into the computer where you can see. And I'm gonna make sure I get the orientation correct, because they have the part number on one side and not the other. And you can see there's the part number right there if you're curious. I can leave that in the description as well, just to be extra helpful. So let's see how this goes. This is not the easiest thing to do by hand, and it might not even be possible. I might have to use a pair of pliers actually. But let me give it a shot first. I want to see if I can do it with you watching. Matter of fact, I might have to set down another light to give you a view. So we're gonna do this. Get that set up so you can see. And then I'm gonna come in from the other side and just try to work one of these guys in here without moving the whole computer, so that you can observe. And there we go. That's one. Boink. Okay. Not terribly difficult. Just kind of a deep reach from this side. And as you can see, it doesn't hang exactly, so I'm going to be real careful. I'm going to pick this up afterwards and then bend at least a couple of the pins over to keep them in place. And after I've verified orientation, but there you go. You can see all the pins are through now. And that is the right way to do this. You do not want to try to have to be soldering one of these things to get them through. You got to be extra careful, obviously. It's a multi-layer board like most boards today. I mean, this computer was manufactured back in 2003, this particular one. And I can't stress that enough. You really don't want to have to do a pad repair on one of these. Although that's possible, it would be extremely difficult to do from the top side. But there you go. There's the 2 modules just sitting in their position. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can bend a couple of the pins over to keep them retained. I'm just going to use my fingers at first if I can, just to try to barely get, no, you know what, use a small tool. I'm going to go ahead with my pliers here very carefully. This is not ideal. We're going to bend one over here, just like that. And then one on the bottom, opposite direction. Okay. And then on the other side, same thing. Top. And I'm going to do the opposite way here just to make this a little bit easier for myself. Blink. There we go. Okay. Now, these being in the position they're in, obviously you want to be very cognizant of how much pressure you're putting on these things, because you're dealing with a board that, at least, I don't know about you guys, but $1,000 is a lot of money to me. So, oh, I hope I had that. Sorry I didn't have it centered. I'll try to give you, I'm going to turn my headlamp off. We'll give you kind of the, there you go. So you can see bottom 2 pins have been bent over to the right, top 2 to the left. And I'm just going to leave it like that. The way the manufacturer did it, they were all bent over. But Obviously, that was on a, well, I don't know if it was done by hand or not. I can't imagine it was. More than likely it was a machine, like a solder wave machine that put this together. But yeah, there you go. So those are all together. Yeah, you know what? I think I'm just going to stop the video here because it's not really necessary for me to, if you're watching this, you know what to do next. Be careful, use the correct tip, use your flux, take it slow, be patient. I can't stress that enough. And when you finish, you will have a working module. And also, important note, I should have said this earlier, but you can see there's some heat damage on the exterior of this computer. Don't try to use a heat gun. The material that the computer's made out of does not, or that the case is made out of, does not deal well with heat. So just go ahead and skip that. You're welcome. I learned that lesson for you. Yeah, good luck. I hope if you give this a shot that it works out, and if not, feel free to jump on GL1800 forums. Fred H is the gentleman you'd be looking for if you want to have someone do it for you. You can also hit me up. My name on there is Jeremy Bills, because I like a little bit of anonymity online. But you can find me. You can also find me on Facebook, or you can just send me a direct message here on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this helped, and I'll see you in the next one.